What's happening, everybody? I am back. It is me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and I am here with my review for the first 3 episodes of Season 2 of Gen V on Prime Video. Now, if you have not seen these episodes yet, I implore you to come on back because there will be spoilers. There is probably no other way I can talk about this but with spoilers. Thank you to everyone who's part of the channel, part of the subscriber numbers and everything who follows along. It means the world to me. Please believe me. I know some people have asked, why haven't you uploaded anything in a minute? Besides there being not a lot to upload, talk about, I was supposed to do more episodes of Peacemaker, but I've also been working on a project that has really consumed a lot of time. And if you know anything about the entertainment industry, you understand when you're working on certain projects, you're not getting paid for them. You're working on them in the hopes that once it's completed, it will get in the hands of people that will lend itself to getting you paid. And that is one of the things I'm going through. It's a lot of edits, a lot of rewrites. It's a lot of frustration that I have to personally deal with. That's a me thing and all of that. Everything else, man, I'm grateful. I appreciate y'all. All right, let me show you something before I get started. So I originally, shouts out to Prime Video for sending me the screeners of Gen V, as well as a bunch of other Amazon shows. I got these back maybe right before my birthday, August 25th, and I watched them all. I mean, I got so caught up in the season, even with the stuff I had to do with stand-up shows, et cetera, I damn near flew through this within like a couple of days. Now, granted, I could have did it in a day, but I had stuff to do. So I had to go, and I just wanted to watch it the first time and just enjoy it, if I enjoyed it, right? This time I went back to rewatch it, and I took notes. I got index cards full of notes per episode, and I'm not going to go episode by episode. I just really needed to have a lot of the points that I'm going to talk about, because I wanted to remember, because I enjoy the entire season, but I can't tell y'all about the full season yet because you haven't seen all the episodes. Like, I know what's going to happen coming down the line, but I can't talk about it here because that spoils it for everybody. But let's get into it, man. First of all, I enjoyed season 1. I think there's no secret about that. When I was doing the break room, and with myself, Gina, Brandon, we would talk about it weekly, and I loved the show. Got a chance to talk to different cast members when we were all on strike as well. And Lizzie Broadway plays Emma, Jazz Sinclair, London Thor, Derek Lee, all them, man, they made an amazing show season 1. And the unfortunate loss of Chance Perdomo right before season 2, you wonder how would they handle this? Because they were about to go into production when he lost his life in a motorcycle accident. And so you're wondering, like, how are they going to address this? How are they going to play this out with, the events of the last season, et cetera? And how would everything even tie into season 4 of The Boys? Because, granted, Homelander shows up, and, in the trailer you see Starlight shows up, and you start hearing that more members of the show are going to be involved, and you're wondering, how are they going to be involved? And you get a lot. Let me just say this out the gate. So the episode starts by, in 1967, I believe it is, talking about the Odessa Project. You see Thomas Godolkin and some other people working on something, and whatever they're working on, these other scientists, they decide to inject themselves with what looks like their own iteration of Compound V, and he's like, yo, it ain't ready. And these dudes start spontaneously combusting, and it goes. I always say this with The Boys and just the Boys universe as a whole. The first episode of every season, whether it be The Boys or Gen V, out the gate, they're letting you know this gonna be a gory, graphic, violent show. So this just sets somewhat of the tone for it. And here's the thing, I saw Project Odessa, and I was like, yo, why does that name ring a bell? You see Project Odessa in season 4 of The Boys in the lab where Homelander was raised. So, again, the tie-in is there. They talk about Newman's death. You see how you see that Jordan and Emma are taken from a place, Elmira, and they're thrown in the back of a paddy wagon of sorts, and then they're brought back to God U, and Kate's there, and they're like, "Yo, where's Andre?" And then find out Andre died. So he died trying to escape, something we don't see. Um, I I think this was like a great return to have them go back to Godolkin, Kate, have Kate, Jordan, and Emma go back to Godolkin, have them reassimilate, have Stacy, who has the stinger, who she was like, "Yo, you see, she has the bee stinger." She's like, "Hey, don't touch my stinger because you will die, and I will die a horrible death as well." Sort of like actual bees. So I'm wondering, and I'll pose this question to y'all: who's going to be the recipient of that? Who's going to be taken out by that stinger? Because I don't think that they'd bring that up without it happening, right? Marie's on the run, and by that she's getting tracked down by Dognot, who, first of all, the name Dognot is insane. It is insane. But it's by the homie of mine, Zach McGowan, and Zach's been in so much stuff. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Black Sails. I happened to be in a little movie with him. That's how him and I got cool. We're in a little movie together called Imperfections. So Zach's the homie. Spartacus, I believe, a couple other things. And to see him tracking Marie down to the point where he tracks her to a motel. That's when Starlight intervenes to see, well, Annie, January, intervenes and tells Marie about Project Odessa. She needs to find it. Her sources tell her, "Yo, this is a thing that possibly could be a thing that either, stop Homelander or Homelander's weapon." So having all that happen, to see Polarity, Andre's father, he's going through it after losing his son, of course. Now remember, in season 1 of Gen V, you find out that there's a genetic disorder that both Polarity and his son share, where after a while using their powers cause these like tears in their brain and things like that, causing aneurysms and strokes and whatnot. And when they have these moments, it's similar to their powers go out of control. And I liken it to, for those who saw Logan, remember Professor Xavier was an octogenarian at the time. I think he was or nonagenarian. For those that don't know, octogenarian is 80 something, nonagenarian is 90s. But Xavier would go through these things where, because he was so old, he would have these like almost tremors in his brain, and because of how strong his mind is, it would affect the entire world to where he needed medication. And so, Polarity knowing about this and losing his son, he's drinking, he's on the website with soup porn, which I was like, yep, that tracks. Looks like OnlyFans. That tracks. So having all of that, you have after things happen, you have Jordan and Emma track down Marie. When they track her down, Kate stumbles with them as well. Kate's reading minds like, "Yo, y'all need to tell Vought, because if you don't, they gonna kill you. They'll torture you. I know, I was helping people. I'm gonna tell them." And then next thing you know, Kate get her skull cracked open, and Marie's trying to put the blood back in because she's realized she can put blood back in. But you hear Emma and Jordan basically like, "Why isn't it working?" And she's like, "Because her skull is cracked open. So the more she keeps putting it back in, it's pouring right back out." So they basically left her there to die, which, as you go forward into episode 2, you find out she didn't die, of course. What else when I look at this? They're talking to try to blame Starlighters. Oh, yeah. Marie has to go back to school, and she makes a terrible TikTok video that she even hates making. "I'm going back to Godolkin because I know I feel better now." And it was just, it's one of the things I love what this show does is, first of all, the boys in Captain. So it was always meant to be satirizing Marvel and DC characters, right? A lot of these characters are based upon, they're blended of characters and mixed up with other characters, but also satirizing a lot of life and everything that happens. Now, of course, the political element of the show is always a big thing. It was a big thing in The Boys for damn near every season. It was not until season 4 where people kept saying, "Oh man, now they're really going over." And I'm like, no, it's on the nose to you now because you feel like it's talking about you directly. But I think the thing with Gen V, it needs to carry that over because it exists within the same world, right? This world where superheroes are to be the dominant species, if you will, and it's about making suits great and all the shit with Firecracker and what Homelander's trying to do, and humans aren't worthwhile. All of those things need to apply to this show, and it definitely does. Kate, you have Kate being unconscious. You find out she's in the hospital. Sam goes and sees her, and while Kate's unconscious, a nurse is like doing something. Kate pushes her conscious into the nurses, drives the nurse crazy. She out here killing and murdering people and shit. That's insane. Also, I forgot to mention, you get a new dean in Cypher. Hamish Linklater and Link is it Linklater? I just had his name, and I apologize. I had it, and I want to make sure I pronounce it correctly to give him his just due. As somebody who watched, like I said, I've watched the entire season. I wanted to see how would the progression of that character go, and damn, is he good as this as Cypher? Because also it's a good thing because no one knows anything about Cypher. They're like, yo, what's his powers? What does he do? He's the dean of soups. He's all about soup superiority, and it's really, excuse me, it's really interesting with him. He comes to see where is it? Yes, Linklater. I want to make sure I had it right, so that's what I mean. Polarity gets a job of God. Yep. Yo, the hero training that he makes these people, I mean, he's making these kids go through because he's trying to make them understand and evolve their powers to the fullest potential. Because of course they're young soups, so they only know their powers to a limit, and he wants them to learn how to evolve to their fullest potential. So there are things that they may be able to do. We know with Jordan, when Jordan's in his male form, he's super strong, right? And damn near invulnerable. When he's in his female form, he emits a light energy burst. Marie's super strong, but she controls blood. Come to find out, that's not just we don't. He even asks, "How do you control the blood?" And I think that's a good question to ask because we never think about it, right? We know that she's a bloodbender. We know her and Victoria Newman have similar powers, but we never exactly understood how it works. And he even says it. Are you controlling the hemoglobin, the platelets, the red blood cells as a whole? How do you control the blood? And she's like, yeah, I can sense things in the blood, but it's like there's levels to your abilities you don't know. And to get them to try to understand, he brings in Vicor, and this man is whooping the dog shit out of them. And I think episode 2 comes through with so much so much shit. It's the point Vicor is whatever, he's beating on him. Marie starts to give him a heart attack because she can control the blood that goes to his heart. So you hear his heart slowing down. This motherfucker beats his chest to keep the blood pumping. I said, ain't that about some dope shit? You get the Deep coming back. He's leading a fraternity that he's talking about was formed by straight white males in Mississippi. And again, if you remember season 4, of The Boys, he says, yeah, straight white men shouldn't be, vilified, and you're Me Too. I don't respect your truth and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, again, things that cross over into that world. Polarity doesn't trust Cypher because he doesn't know who he is. So he goes to records with Emma to try to find out more than he can about him, and Thomas Godolkin go in there, find a secret room with all this Nazi paraphernalia. Now remember, Godolkin was Frederick Vaught's right-hand man, and if you know, Vaught was working with Goebbels and all these cats, all these Nazis. So again, it is the reason soups exist was that Vought was trying to make it for the Nazis to help them be the superior force. But again, when you have the Project Stormfront, not the actual Stormfront, but things like that, when you have Nazi scientists who are captured by the Americans and start working for the United States, they take their skills and bring them to the country and stuff like that. But finding all of that, super, uh, all that the paraphernalia, if you will, is just insane because it's like, damn, you had the Nazi robes, you had a Native American headdress, had a Klan robe, saw some Klan cross burning with somebody with no robe on, nothing but his drawers. All this stuff you find out, then they find a secret file, and in this file, Emma finds out, but she gets excited. In the process of getting excited, she becomes big. She goes gigantic, and again, she didn't have to overeat to be gigantic, and this is part of the evolution of your powers. Emma only thinks for a while that she can only get small if she purges herself, through a bulimia eating disorder, and she can only get big if she overeats. But you see, in this situation, she got big because she was excited. And I was like, okay. So we get into it. But Emma finds out about the Project Odessa and tells Marie, "You are Odessa." I'm like, wait, that girl don't look like no Odessa. Ain't no new Odessas being born. Here's names of kids that look. Here are old names that there are not new versions of. Ain't no new Odessas, Clementines. I don't think there's Clarences. Ain't no new Henrys, Theopolis. Let me see what else. Otis. It's rarely any Glorias. My mama name is Gloria, and she's born in the 50s. Let me see what else. No Johnny Mays. That's my grandmama's name. Lily Mae. Anything with May, damn near in the middle. What else? Older black man. No, Franklins. Oh, you got a Franklin. You got a couple Franklins. It's a lot of old names, but she thought she was Odessa. But the birth certificate say Marie. That's all I'm saying. Kate woke up at the hospital in episode 2 and realized all is happening. Now she goes back to the school. She got the hair wrap on, everything. She's talking to Cypher. She like, yo, I don't want to have to sit in front of these bitches. They tried to kill me. I'm supposed to be good. And she like, all right. Cypher, again, Hamish Linklater is so amazing this because he's like, all right, cool. So you got to tell Vought, which means telling Homelander. And basically, your purpose at the school is having powers. So if your powers ain't working because you got your shit cracked, then you are pointless. So what you really want to do? And it's like when you put it in that way, because also there is a point in episode 1, excuse me, I forgot to mention this, where she's trying to figure out, like Kate's trying to figure out things with Cypher, but she can't break him, right? She can't decode him. A Cypher. But she almost gets close to trying to push him. Like that's what she called when she uses her abilities to push him. When he's making a smoothie, and this man almost puts her real hand in a blender, and because she loses the other hand, it's a wrap. So yeah, talk about this barista too. The barista that is going through, my heart goes out to that barista. That barista, she is the human. So after everything that happened with season 1 with Dean Shetty, finding out about the woods and all that, and them killing all of the human staff and whatnot, and some still survive, but now there's a human entrance, and she goes through hell day in and day out. She is tortured by the students, the creepy, sleazy security staff when she's getting checked in. There's a soup that keep putting up these resist posters, and she take them down. They go back up. She like, yo, what the fuck? She's having a whole thing happen. Sam, who was going through his thing too, because Kate's brain is broke, so she can't push Sam to calm Sam. Remember, Sam's schizophrenic. Sam. That's another thing about this show. It's like I said, it satirizes a lot of political stuff, a lot of real life stuff, but it also addresses a lot of real life things as well. Mental health issues, eating disorders, family disorders, domestic abuse, all these different things. Now, there are going to be people who are going to say, of course, I don't want this in my show and blah, 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 blah. But I think to a point, there's a good thing that we bring it up. Like, yeah, Sam, to some people, they'll say Sam being schizophrenic, if you will, helps his superpowers or whatever. But it's a real thing a lot of people deal with. And he's not medicated, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Sam's going through it too. Sam, because he can't get Kate to push him and calm his brain down. The man is on this little lunch picnic date with Justine, I believe, and he started freaking out and started seeing the puppets again. I was so fucking excited when the puppets came back. If you remember Gen V season 1, when he went crazy and saw puppets and murdered everybody, all the puppets got murdered. It was probably the greatest thing I've seen. He went through the puppets murdering, and the puppets started spitting out all type of conspiracy theories stuff to him. JFK Jr. is alive. 9/11 was an inside job. 5G causes cancer. All those things, because that's what Vought does too. Because you got to remember, you have Firecracker on Vought News, who is the most ultra. She's not even far right. Firecracker is ultra right nut job. And so conspiracy theories are this bitch's middle name. She's like, hey, it's Homelander, it's Jesus, Homelander, and us. We got your back, Kate. Like, yo, chill out. Another interesting thing. There's so much, again, there's so many. I'm looking at all these notes I wrote because I'm going through the episodes, but it's so much stuff that I was like, I love how the writers addressed a lot of this. Jordan isn't trans. Jordan is bi gender. And it's a thing because Jordan is 2 different genders. Now, again, some people go blah, 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 blah. I need you to do actual, real research. Googling genders, you will understand that no, there are not just 2 genders. Gender is a spectrum. So just like sexuality. But what about science? Science has proven this, but also cultures throughout ages have also identified different genders. This is something that is not on the show. This is a little, I guess, history lesson you can thank Jay Washington from. A lot of Native American cultures, when they may have had people who were deemed either trans or the old term hermaphrodite, many times they were considered two-spirit. And some are still to this day, yes, considered two-spirit as a gender. And it is actually in the gender classification. Well, it sounds like everybody go crazy. They try to make everything. Well, no. You have to understand this. Again, the reflection of society. Actual society. The progression of society. Hence the term progressive. I always make sure I say this. People got to know. If you know me, you know this. I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm not liberal or conservative. I'm a Virgo. But I do understand what progress means, what progressive means. It means a mindset of moving forward. There's a reason you have to progress and move forward. When you're trying to stay a certain way, there is a problem. Here's how I can say that. If we never progressed forward, I wouldn't be here. Many of the other creators, whether they be content creators, pundits, journalists, critics, etc., we wouldn't be on camera talking to you guys if progress wasn't a thing, if progression wasn't a thing, if evolving, moving forward wasn't a thing. So Jordan being by gender, no matter how much the Stinger girl, Stacy, whatever her name is, the spokesperson from Bob, was like, nah, you're trans. Say it's transtastic because it's easy to just rub it off, write it off as that. I think I had, I'm gonna say this real quick. I had somebody in my DMs like DM me. I posted something, some news article, and it was, uplifting trans rights and stuff like that. And I'll post stuff like, I will post that up my stories and whatnot because I have trans friends. It matters nothing to me. You were a guy, now you're a girl. You were a girl, now you're a guy. It doesn't matter to me because it doesn't affect my life. It doesn't affect my kid's life. Yes, as a father, I'm saying, well, what do you feel about if a trans person uses the bathroom? First of all, not, I don't, the odds of a trans person using the bathroom of my daughter to harm my daughter are slim to none. I know so many biologically born women who are just like, yeah, it doesn't matter. So when I bring all this up, somebody commented on that post and was like, trans people are sick. And I'm like, no, they're not. Trans people are regular fucking people. You got to remember, again, we're talking about a show that, even though it is satirical, even though in some instances it's fictional, it still takes a lot of our modern day elements, not just here, and when I say here, I mean this country, but also abroad. And it puts it back in our face, it mirrors it, right? You have to remember, trans people, for the most part, just like other members of the LGBTQ community, have been around for decades. But they were afraid to live who they or truly were because people would shun them and hate them. And again, I've had a friend ask me, was like, bro, you'll say shit on your videos and you don't care if you if you get people mad. And it's like, no, but also, why would you be mad? Why would you be mad for me bringing up the facts? I don't want to hear, well, trans ideology. Listen, when you use the term ideology, that term can apply to any and everything, whether it be trans, heterosexual, homosexual, doesn't matter. Back to the story. Jordan becomes number one ranking, right? And girl's like, yo, you want to say the speech? And we worked in the word transtastic. That's when Jordan says I'm bi gender. And at one point, Jordan is during this Godolkin Day. Jordan is giving a speech, and Jordan has to say, "It's transtastic," and it hurts because it's the male version of the point. It hurts him at the time. At one point, also when Sam goes snapping out, seeing the puppets and shit, he's trying to calm down. He's trying to he's freaking out. Jordan tries to calm him down. This is before the speech, and they start fighting. There is a soup that has a dimensional portal where people are in his ass, and he's bent over in the room. I was like, I don't know what is really happening here. Marie tries to find out. I forgot to bring up stuff too. Marie tries to find out about Odessa and goes to see her Aunt Pam. It's her mom's old friend. And Pam is like, yo, I don't know where your sister is, all these different things, until Marie go to the bathroom and see a whole ass bedroom. It's like, hey, bitch, my sister lives with you? Like, you just not gonna tell me? And she's like, yo, we were scared of you. You murdered your parents. You know, you were a monster, etc. And Marie's like, my family gave me a drug and I came out like this. I was a girl who got her period, which no lies were told. I think that's another thing I don't know if they'll discuss it in season 5 of The Boys, Vought Rising, or even the one set in Mexico I think they're doing. Yeah, these parents say, or it might have been addressed, excuse me. These parents say they wanted to try to get the best for their kids. Vought was giving them all this money, but the risk. You have to have these kids who have these abilities that they kick on and it kick in at any moment, and they got to deal with this shit. So it's always kind of crazy, man. All in all, let's go back to the end. Jordan's giving a speech for Godolkin on Thomas Godolkin Day, and Jordan has to say this is transtastic. And this is after Jordan confesses his love to Marie. Marie said it while they was having sex, which typically when you want to say I love you for the first time, it's when fellas you either balls deep in someone, or ladies, someone's balls deep in you. Those balls may be real or plastic, but they balls deep. And I love you. Yeah, did you just come? But Jordan says it because Jordan's like, I don't know what tomorrow holds. And while Jordan's giving his speech, Jordan turns back to the female version and tells the truth that Andre is dead. All these things have happened, and Kate wasn't attacked by Starlighters like Firecracker them tried to say, and Vought tried to pawn off, because Vought knows. Vought knows pretty much everything. They know that Emma, Jordan, and Marie were responsible for Kate's injury with her skull. But Vought's not going to let that because they're building him up again as the Guardians of Godolkin and all these things. But Jordan tells him that, yo, I was the one that did that to Kate. When in all actuality, I think it might have been Marie with the blood. And so that was the end of that. And we just, wrapped up from that. I think this is going. I'm trying to talk as if I have not seen the rest of this fucking season yet. This season, you're in for a ride. Okay? You are in for a definite ride. The story interweaves itself completely with the final season of The Boys, as it should. But it also builds on the characters that we've grown to know. And I think the traumatic element of Andre's death helps to elevate each of these characters. Marie has to go through this whole thing with the Project Odessa thing she finds out about. Emma becomes the hero that Andre says she can be. She's going to learn she can become the hero that Andre says she can. Because remember, now she finds out that there's the resistance group that has been putting the resistance stuff up. And she's like, yo, I'm going to help y'all. Jordan is like, I just got to be strong, finally stand up. And Jordan's always kind of been reserved and be like, yo, I don't want to be in the middle of shit. I just want to elevate my rankings. That was Jordan for thing. But like Jordan's like, yo, I got to stand up and be strong and press forward. And and Sam is just, I just need a hug. But I think you all are in for a treat with what this season is going to bring, what the season is going to hold. Again, there's going to be a lot of reflection into today's society. There are going to be parallels to a lot of things that have happened recently. Now, I say that you have to remember this show was written almost 2 years ago, as well as filmed about a year or so ago. Okay? The show was written and filmed before January 20th, 2025. Why do I bring that date up? That is the date in which the current sitting president was inaugurated. So anything that has been enacted because of said administration and whatnot, that what you will see that seems exactly eerily similar is damn near coincidental, but almost predictable. I want to make sure people think that, because again, looking back at the whole pushback that people had from season 5 of The Boys, man, that was a thing. All right, but if you watch these episodes, I want to know what you thought in the comments down below. Now, I know I said a lot in the 30-something odd minutes I've been talking. I know that. I ask of you one thing as always. Keep it civil. We are talking about a comic book TV show that just so happens to parallel this country's real life. Just so happens. All right? Like the video. Subscribe. Click on the notification bell. Send a super thanks if you want to. Share this with people. Get this out here. All these things. I'm going to do my best. Because I have the whole season, I'm going to try to record each individual episode. Like, I'll watch an episode and then record the review and try to schedule them all to come out. Because I have it, so I want to be able to make sure I'm here with you all for the rest of this season. So I want to know what y'all think, all right? I am across the board social media. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, all of those things. Mr. J. Washington. MRJAY, you should know I spell Washington. I need to bring the Mad Titan podcast back, but I kind of want to do it more in person. And I don't know, and I love BC, and I would tell them, like, I mean, we can do the video, but it's something about I need to be able to have our guests with us. And so I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Blurs in the Hood, we're back. We're back every single Wednesday. When you're watching this today, on Wednesday, we'll be back at 5 p.m. Pacific today. Next week will probably be 6 p.m. because, again, schedules. But 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. YouTube and Twitch, Blurs in the Hood. Go subscribe to their YouTube channel. All of those things. Stay tuned. If you're in Bozeman, Montana, I'll be out there soon, and a bunch of other places as well. Holla at y'all later. Till then, take care. I'm out.